Morley Grove, a story of disappearing children, ghosts, and a being we're all too familiar with. All orchestrated by the creator of Gemini Home Entertainment, Remy Abode. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. A bit of a shorter video today as I go through the motions of some bigger projects for the future. Speaking of which, did you know that less than 5% of you are subscribed to the channel right now? Go ahead and check if you're part of that 5% as we jump in to Morley Grove. Morley Grove is a web series created a little over a year ago on March 18th, 2022, blending elements of analog, digital, and early internet aesthetics together. The series revolves around the fictional town of Morley Grove, Tennessee, with our first video being titled Morley Grove, a recording of a YouTube video taken from an earlier time in the site's history, uploaded by a user named Superpilot Jordan on May 15th, 2009. Interestingly enough, on this day in the real world, President Obama signed a Tennessee disaster declaration to help those impacted by a recent tornado and thunderstorm. It may be purely coincidental, so take that with a grain of salt. The video, titled Morley Grove Specters, Missing Kids Photos Turn Creepy. We're taken through a slideshow of photos from 1969, each photo containing a missing child, now with their face seemingly distorted in each image. The last photo here, I'd like you to take a mental note of this tree line, which appears again right before the slideshow cuts off. We're played an audio from what is known as the Morley Grove Specters, recorded September 2007. The audio contains some turbulent winds and what can only be described as something screaming. Our second video, Birthday 2005, starts with some dreamlike music as we're taken through some old videos of Morley Grove and its residents. Did you manage to catch it? If not, we'll come back to it at the end of this section. We cut to black as we're shown a recording of a birthday video for Dustin circa 2005. However, Dustin's face is censored throughout the video. Accompanying the video, an iteration of You Are My Sunshine plays.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies.
If you happen to be a follower of Caught Not Sleeping, it might have just clicked what's going on here. If not, let's go back to that frame that you missed. And stop. At what appears to be the spot chosen for the picnic in the first video, on the left side of the screen, standing emboldened in front of us, what we'll come to know as the Morley Man. If you look closely at the end of the video, we get a quick moving photo of Dustin and the Morley Man standing behind him. Moving on to the next video, Morley Missing, we have an early comment section on what we can presume is the birthday video, as You Are My Sunshine is still playing.
My sunshine away.
The comments read as follows. We have KOTR Best 17 confused about the photos from the video as they seem much older than 2005. With our familiar Superpilot Jordan chiming in about how this is one of the missing children in Morley Grove. He gets into an argument with another user stating tomorrow he'll post proof of Morley Grove specters. We're taken to a page categorizing this phenomenon of missing children. Our recorder goes through showing each child missing. The photos distort, with the photo for our birthday boy, Dustin Ford, missing entirely. Another photo can be seen, but our recorder doesn't scroll down any further. Instead, being taken to a live testimony page. I'm not going to read all of these just for brevity's sake, so feel free to pause or just go to the video and read them for yourself. Notably, the first entry is where we get the name Morley Man, and the last entry we hang on for an uncomfortable amount of time as the music swells. I must have been around 12 at the time. I was sitting on the couch right across from Roy. He was a couple years younger than me. I was on the couch that sat against the main wall, so I wasn't able to look out the window. I remember I was showing him this toy truck I had, and for a second, he glanced past me, out the window. It took him, right then and there. My mom was in the kitchen when it happened. She screamed. Morley Drive. We start with a 911 call recorded January 2010.
911. Okay, they're there right now. Do you know who they are? Okay, are you safe right now?
We're shown dashcam footage confirming this event took place on January 16th, 2010 at around 2:23 a.m. This footage is incredibly grainy with radio distortions and it cuts frequently, jumping the time along. However, at exactly 2:24 a.m. without a single cut, the time jumps to 2:25. The cam cuts off and we get an overhead view of 23 Morley Drive. 2:27 a.m. Police arrive to 23 Morley Drive. Holden Dunn, husband, answers the door. Police explain the situation. Dunn is confused and explains that there are no children in the household. Our next video, Morley Ghost, we can assume is the proof that Super Pilot Jordan was talking about uploading onto his own channel. I really want to just include this whole video, but I'll just take you through the important stuff. But like, Jesus, let me gush about this a little bit first. It's this single shot of this dark corner that you're just staring at, and through the YouTube compression and your own mind, it begins to feel like you're seeing things that may or may not actually be there. The whole time you're just laser focused on the corner of this room and you have your sound turned up because you're trying to hear what's going on. I just immediately got thrown back to like early internet ghost videos on YouTube and was so afraid that I was about to be caught in like some screamer. So much so that I didn't even realize this was how I was watching the video, with my hand placed firmly on my audio interface, ready to crank it down at any moment. This video scratched a very specific horror itch that I didn't even know I had, and I highly recommend going and watching it after this video because it is terrifying for like all of the right reasons without being cheap in any way. With that out of the way, let's get into the details of the video. As stated before, the video is this single shot of a dark corner of a room. A few seconds in, we get some distorted low whispering. While I couldn't make out anything in particular, this is clearly a Morley specter. The distortion is very similar to the 911 call before. The video fades to black and then back in on the shot, where we see a cat get startled by whatever is down this corner. We then zoom down the corner, where I personally see a face peeking to the left. The video hangs for a bit, where we see a shadow move on the right side of the screen. We get another shadow on the left before the room darkens. We get a loud, almost thunderous noise, and the cabinets begin to slowly shake. As the room lightens up again, the sound stops. We get our clearest sound of the child's voice. The final seconds of the video are a terrifying sound of footsteps coming towards the camera before knocking it to the side. Our final video up until this point, birthday 2010. We get an intro of a family celebrating a birthday and cutting a cake, before abruptly cutting to a news article with the headline, "Ghost Child Scares Couple Out of Home. Morley Grove Couple Puts House Up for Sale Following 911 Ghost Call, January 17th, 2010. A week after our Morley Drive video's call. We also have a photo drawn of someone with blurred eyes. We're then taken to Dustin's 2010 birthday video. Yet again, his face is blurred. And while it isn't the same as the previous picture before. I can't help but think whatever is behind this blur doesn't look like your typical child's face. As before, You Are My Sunshine plays alongside the slideshow. However, this time, Dustin is completely missing from the photos. We also get a cleaner frame of the final picture in the first video, now with Dustin and the Morley Man removed. We then get the frame of the Morley ghost video, slowly creeping in towards another censored blurb, where we can almost make out a face.
Please don't take my sunshine.
It's notable to mention the song at the start of the video with the cake collage and everything is Stars Will Fall by Duster, but in reverse. A song with only 13 lyrics. All we know is that the stars will fall and holidays come and go. And so that rounds out Morley Grove up to this point. So what exactly is going on here? I think it's fairly safe to say that we have a Slender Man story going. The residents of Morley Grove seem to be repeatedly haunted by this figure, the Morley Man. With urban legends cropping up, people take to online spaces to document this mystery. One of these being Super Pilot Jordan. The first event that we have proof of taking place is in 1969, with several children all disappearing. The memories and physical memorabilia of the children all seem to distort and eventually vanish as time goes along. The second event that we can confirm happened is January of 2010, with an unknown child calling 911. When the cops arrive, the homeowners claim that there is no child around. It seems as though the children, when taken by the Morley Man, don't fully disappear from our world. They're left to wander in this in-between state as Morley specters, while their memory is slowly more and more erased from their friends and families. The children are forced to live alongside these people they love, unable to communicate, unable to reach out, unable to touch them, just simply whispers in the wind. Aside from Dustin, who physically manifested in the house of 23 Morley Drive, long enough to make a 911 call. The Morley Man's still right behind him, stalking him. But for a moment in time, he was back in the real world. Only for a short while though. Time skips and he is forced back into this other side. Well, at first I thought the 911 call was the Dunn's child and they simply lost the memory of them almost immediately. I don't think that this is the case anymore. It's shown through the testimonies, people still remember the events of the Morley Man, at least for a while. Dustin's birthday, 2010, was to symbolize him coming back into this world in January of 2010. Following this logic, we can assume that the Morley ghost video is from 2005, the first time that he re-manifested into our world, which is why it's included in the 2010 highlight video, as well as his photos from the 60s. If you want to believe that the 911 call isn't Dustin and it is the Dunn's child, then the Morley Man's ability to morph reality is getting much stronger throughout the years, which is also a terrifying thought. Regardless of what camp you want to stand in, what Remy Abode has made here is a truly interesting blend of internet horror aesthetics, and I think we have a lot to look forward to as this series progresses. A special thanks to my Rat Kings on Patreon, Bohan and Claus Somber. If you'd like to help out the channel as well, or are just looking for my social links, they're all in the description below. And with that, I've been your host, Pat Ratrick, and do you believe in ghosts?